And we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast with myself and Ham Solo. We got things to talk about this week, of course, but before we get into any of that, talk about what we've been playing. And Ham, you're going to get us started, bud. What have you been playing this past week?
Uh, Combating sleep apnea. No, I'm just kidding.
On the
Oh
sweaty
man,
hydrant.
but
Jesus.
oh man. I was playing quite a bit of emulate. I was playing like quite a bit of games through emulation until I left my Steam Deck at my mom's, which she lives like 200 miles away. So it's gonna be a little bit till I get that back. Probably in just about a week and a half or two when I go back down there. But other than that, play a little bit of Doom the Dark Ages, still kind of creeping around that game. It's not really what I'm looking for right now. It's a good game's fantastic. I'm just looking to play something a little bit more relaxing and chill. Thinking about I'm thinking about playing a little bit of Tainted Grail in the meantime, but just haven't started it at all yet, and I'm not sure how enthused I am to do that because really all I'm looking forward to is Dune Awakening because I'm
Yeah.
super excited to play that game and whatnot. So it's just kind of like I feel like I'm just twiddling my fingers around until that comes around, and I'm gonna dunk my head into that, and I don't know when I'm gonna come back up, but hopefully, um, hopefully I have enough time because I'm gonna be in the midst of moving and stuff like that. So it's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass wanting to play that game versus having time to play that game.
Yeah. Yeah, moving whenever there's a game coming out, it's always the worst. Like I was lucky when we moved because all the stuff that came like Starfield came out a couple months before. Alan Wake came out like a month before, and I don't think there was anything that came out in November when we moved, so that made it a lot easier. But yeah, if there was something that was dying to play, that would have been probably pretty miserable during that whole thing. But so that's what you've been playing. Um, I'll talk about what I've been playing, and you mentioned Tainted Grail. You were thinking about trying it out. That is what I've been playing. I've been playing pretty much nothing but that. I bought it twice on, I bought it once on Xbox, and then because I have my rewards on Xbox, and then I bought it on PC as well. I've talked about it. Rachie knows I've talked about it. Appreciate you, Rachie, for stopping by. But I did a stream on Saturday for Tainted Grail. But yeah, dude. Love the game. It is uh it's undoubtedly a double A game. It has a lot of double A jank. Just gonna be honest about that. I think anybody who plays it will say that unless they're being dishonest. It has a lot of jank to it. But the game is very, very fun. Um, it's very inspired by Elder Scrolls, but it's also dark fantasy. Elder Scrolls is not very dark fantasy, it's more whimsical. Although there's some dark shit in Elder Scrolls, but it's a lot more whimsical than Tainted Grail is. Uh, it's challenging. I wouldn't say, I was talking to you, Ham, I wouldn't say it's as challenging as something like Elden Ring, but it's probably more in that direction in terms of a challenge than it's probably closer to that than it is to Elder Scrolls in terms of difficulty. Raichi says Adam Fall or Tainted Grail. For me personally, it's Tainted Grail. I haven't, and that's I haven't really given Adam Fall. I don't know about you, Ham, but I haven't really given Adam Fall much of a shot. If I'm being real.
I didn't like it.
So you didn't even like it. So
No,
yeah, like Raichi, for me, it's definitely Tainted Grail. Hamsay didn't even like the thing, so
man,
yeah.
Adam Fall was like eating unseasoned oatmeal to me, man. It was just boring. Like, like I'm sorry.
Damn.
Like Like it looked pretty, but I've told you so many times, and it's not even the fault of Adam Fall or the developers. But you mix the elite developers with the scenery that is England. You have a combination of
Oh.
something that you don't want to taste.
Uh,
And each time I taste it, it's like boiled chicken.
Jesus.
It's like, oh
This
man, this is juicy, but then I realize there's no flavor.
is juicy. Am I eating water?
Yeah. It's just nothing but protein. It's just raw protein.
Damn. Well, I'll say this: the little small amount of Adamfall I played, and I'm being serious. It's a little small amount. I played maybe 40
You
minutes.
kind of liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. Out of the 40 minutes I played, I liked it. Um,
You
but
couldn't get
like,
over the aliasing.
yeah, the aliasing on console is rough. But to be fair, it's not just console; it's a PC. I don't know. Maybe they patched it since then. But at launch, it was a PC problem also. Like there was no FSR, there was no DLSS, there was no upscaling of any sort. It's just you have aliasing and you have to deal with it. And there's just no way around it. So,
Yeah,
and
but
you could be
it had
playing
nothing
it.
to do with aliasing for me. It had just to do
You
with
just
just the
straight up
lack
didn't
of
like it.
seasoning. The lack of
Yeah.
seasoning.
Throw some salt on this motherfucker. It's dying. It's just, that's terrible. Ty
There's
says
like a
Adam Falls.
salt lick for me.
What's that?
I said there's like a salt lick for me. Just fucking
Ty.
bitter.
Yeah, well, Raichi, I enjoyed the very small amount I played. So
Well,
take
did
comfort in
did
that, I
Rachie
guess.
enjoy it?
I mean, I would assume so because he asked that question, and then he said there is just too much good stuff on Game Pass. Adam Fall being on Game Pass, I'm assuming he's throwing that in the pile of good stuff on Game Pass.
I
Um,
think the game. I think the game looks like it was made well for whoever wants to play it, but it's not me.
sure, yeah. I mean, that's totally fair. I think you might have said it, and I agreed with it, or we both might have said it at one point. The Sniper Elite developer, I can never Rebellion.
Yeah,
They they
Rebellion. Yeah.
they make games that, in theory, I should love. Like Sniper Elite as a series, just being able to shoot somebody and like it goes slow motion and just obliterates parts of their body. I should love that. I should, in theory, love that. But like, there was Sniper Elite 5 and Sniper Elite Resistance, both of which launched day one in Game Pass. And both of them, I was like, can't wait to play that. And then it came out and I played it and I was like, not going to play that again. Both times.
Yeah,
Adamfall
I
was
didn't do that
like,
for Rebellion. I mean, I didn't do that for the latest Sniper Elite. After five, I kind of knew where I stood with Sniper Elite.
what's the other thing they also make that's like objectively should be right up my alley? The zombie game, Zombie Army.
Yeah,
Zombie
Zombie
Army's
Army 4.
Zombie Army is pretty fun. If you got like a whole group of people, I can enjoy it. But it's one of those games I'm never gonna boot that game up by myself ever. I will never do that.
Yeah, very Left for Deady.
And if the thing is, if you're telling me, hey, we're gonna play Left 4 Dead or Zombie Army, no disrespect to Rebellion, I'm saying let's play Left 4 Dead because I like FPS more. Just a personal opinion.
I might
But
go for Zombie Army.
I'm sure a lot of people would. I'm sure a lot of people would. I like
But I need so much assistance for that game to be fun to me, and I just don't think it I just don't like no disrespect to Rebellion. I've never really like felt connected with their games.
same. That's not. I don't even feel like that's disrespectful. That's exactly how I feel. I've never been connected to anything that they've done, really.
It's
Um,
the same for Final Fantasy, and there ain't nothing wrong with that series. It's technically great, right? I just never felt connected to it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Final Fantasy, Sniper Elite's on. They literally have 6 games out for Sniper Elite. Probably more than
Oh
that
man,
if you're.
my father-in-law has beaten multiple Sniper Elite games. He loves it, but to
Yeah,
me, it's just like I see him and who he is, and him loving that makes sense to me. He's a
sure.
very he's a very solo, quiet kind of don't bug anybody kind of gamer. Like don't talk to nobody, don't bug, don't really care what anybody has to say. Doesn't really want to talk about it. He won't brag about how he beat it or talk about it or really even let anybody know. He just kind of just plays it. I think he just likes the gameplay of it. I don't really think he cares about anything less. He just likes to be able to say, "Oh
Yeah,
man, I made a drop shot" or something like that.
yeah. That's totally fair. But Ty says Adam Fall's a good game. Not sure why the developers didn't make it multiplayer like their previous games. Also, the game scope probably should have been reduced to feel tighter. See, the thing I hear about Adam Fall is that it's pretty reduced scope. It's not very big, from what I hear. So I don't know if they would make it smaller than what it is. But then again, I don't know how big it is because I've never for real played it. So I can't say. But yeah,
I'm
I've
just
been
getting
playing.
tired thinking about that shit, man. This game is boring.
I've been playing Tainted Grail, and if you like Elder Scrolls and you like a challenge, there's also difficulty stuff. So if you just want to turn stuff down, I know Mike said he really likes the game, but he's thinking about like turning it on like easy or whatever. Go for it. I wouldn't really blame you. It can be kind of a bitch. Especially I got into the second area of Tainted Grail. And the first area, after like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours, was super easy for me. The first area was a breeze. And then I got into the second area, and bro, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I walked into the second area and there's like enemies 10 feet from the gate that you walk into the second area. As soon as you spawn in, there's enemies 10 feet from it. And like you have to walk a little bit closer for them to like engage with you. I walked forward and I was dead like within 3 seconds. And they killed me like 30 times probably. And eventually I was able to pick one off and then pick off another one and then another one. And then the fourth one I was like, fuck it, I'm not even fighting you. And I just ran. But that's how I got into the second area on Tainted Grail. So yeah,
You
check it
make
out.
it sound like you make it sound like a Souls game.
It's closer to a Souls game in terms of its difficulty. It's closer to a Souls game than it is Elder Scrolls. But like I said, I was also playing on normal, like just the standard difficulty. So if you were to lower the difficulty or raise the difficulty, your experience would be wildly different. Like there's been
Is
times.
it?
What's that?
I was gonna say, is there a bunch of like sites of grace and stuff like that? Is that how they do that?
No. You can make a campfire pretty much anywhere as long as you're not in like a dungeon um or like a building or something. But like there's safe areas on the map, but you can make a campfire anywhere. But the thing with this game is that at night, like during the day, it's like a piece of cake. At night is when things get really fucked. Cause like there's I forget what the name of these enemies are, but there's like these things called uh like weird skeletons or something. I don't know, like WYRD. It's weird something. And these enemies are only out at night. These motherfuckers are absolute savages. They run in packs of like two, three, or four or more. Sometimes if they get clustered up together, and they will beat the fuck out of you. But you're like, the game kind of wants to push you into fighting them, because if you fight them and kill them, then you'll get stuff that you can upgrade. You can be able to upgrade certain things at your campfire, like I forget what it's called, but there's like a few different mechanics at your campfire that you need specific currency to upgrade, and killing those things gets you that currency. Um, but Raichi says hard or easy. The game is buggy as hell. So the game, like I said, the game's definitely very double A, and the game is like, I was telling Cozy, and I get shout out to Cozy because she's in the chat. But I was telling Cozy a couple nights ago that I love the game so much, and I can tell, like, just playing it on PC, it's a little bit better because it's been in early access on PC forever, so they've had time to like fix it and everything for that specific thing. Um, but like it feels like it's being held together at the seams, and like at any point it could all just crumble and break, but somehow it doesn't, and it all just fucking works really well. So like I don't know how big the team is that made it, but I know it's definitely double A. But I mean, for you, Ham, I'd say give it a shot. Like I said, I already bought it, so if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. You might like it, you might not like it. It's whatever it is, but it's worth a shot at the very least. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I've
might
been
give
loving
it a
that game.
shot. I'm I'm kind of like on the meh side of it, but like I feel like at some point before Dune comes out, I'll probably give it a shot just to see what it's like, just to see what the combat feels like. If you were to compare the combat in particular to anything as of like the last 5 years, what would you compare it to?
I'd say Avowed, but not really. You could compare it to Avowed. You can compare it to Elder Scrolls in the sense of like, there's magic, there's melee, and there's archery. So like a lot of fantasy games, magic, melee, and archery. Um, but it's kind of a different, like it's a different take on it than Elder Scrolls, and it's even a different take on it than Avowed. So like I got two different characters running at the moment. Like I have it on PC and then also on console. On console, I am kind of like I'm like a knight. I'm like a brute on console. So a lot of two-handed weapons. Every now and then I might use magic for something. The most magic I use on console is like I'll summon allies to fight with me, which is like one thing that's nice in this versus like Elder Scrolls I found is I can summon up to three things to fight with me. Whereas on Elder Scrolls, you summon something in. If you try to summon something else, that thing that you summoned earlier will disappear. So you can summon like three things to fight with you at once, and that's that's what I've been doing. I've been beating the shit out of people, and then on Steam, I have it set up so I'm like a battle mage. So I'm like uh, kind of like a mage, but very tanky. Um, so that's how I've been playing it. But I would say Avowed's a pretty solid comparison. I think Avowed's melee combat's probably a little bit sharper, um, probably a bit more weightier, honestly. But like that, and the last 5 years, that would be the comparison I would make is to Avowed. Um, so yeah. Ty says, double A game, you say. I heard the developers of Clair Obscur inspired them to make it, saying as they're the first one to make the first double A game and a good one at that. That sounds like sarcasm, Ty. But God bless you, buddy. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
sounds like
that
he's channeling his inner hater.
that but yeah, check it out if you haven't, or don't if you don't care about that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a fun game worth trying out. But let's get into some topics, shall we? I think obviously, I mean, we should probably start with EA. EA canceling. the Black Panther video game and double whammy closing the studio Cliffhanger Games. So this is insane to me because I mean, I guess it happens, but like I mean, there was that whole Spider-Man thing that got canceled. Apparently, the Spider-Man multiplayer thing that got canceled. But it's not super often, I feel, that we hear about a Marvel game being canceled. Like a mainline Marvel game, like Black Panther. So I guess off the bat, I would pass it to you. What are your initial thoughts seeing this? Because this dropped just today. While you guys were live, by the way, I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing. So I didn't. I don't know if you guys talked about it or what. But what are your initial thoughts hearing the Black Panther game is canceled?
Not on. I'm honestly not that surprised by it. Like you can't really trust anything to. I mean, unless it seems like it's surefire.
Mm-hmm.
If it's coming from one of these large companies and there's any sort of like awkward silence, it feels like it could go.
That's fair.
Like there was awkward silence for a hot minute on the last time we even heard about this, which I feel like was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago when we last heard this.
Um, yeah, there's for something of that magnitude, I'm just surprised that they didn't try to figure out a way to make it work. And it seems like it's happening with a lot of superhero games, to be honest. Or
Mm,
like or like I shouldn't really say superhero games as much as I mean like high value, well known IP, right? So like Wonder Woman had something
true.
similar happen to it. Star Wars has seen multiple things kind of just have issues, especially as of recently, with whole Aspire team and everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, we see this is kind of falling apart, and then even some games that have came out that were like of high value IP, like Suicide Squad and what is it called? Gotham Knights.
Ugh.
You know, just like some of these games that are like high value IPs. Not even just to talk about them. Like, I mean, you can talk about Avatar as well. Star Wars, the one with the girl in it.
Outlaws.
Yeah, Star Wars Outlaws. Like there's just been a lot of failing high profile IPs out there, and it's just surprising. It's kind of surprising, kind of not, I guess, too.
Mm. Yeah, I get that. See, I'm really only surprised just because like I guess the last time we heard about this, it seemed like such a short like they seemed very sure about it. Like cuz it feels like I forgot this game was being made because they didn't talk about it for a while, but there was a period where they were really talking about it. Or at least it felt like they were really talking about it. And then for whatever reason, they just kind of went dark on it, with the public at least. And I guess we now know why, because, you know, they ended up canceling it. But it's like, makes me wonder how bad, like, I wonder how bad a game, like a licensed game like that, needs to be for it to be canceled versus like a regular game. It's like a regular original IP. Um, Ty says closing down Cliffhanger Games is wild. That development team made Shadow of Mordor and they came from Monolith. Real shame because that's a lot of talent. Yeah, it's a shame, but I don't know. EA apparently thought it was the right call. Unfortunately, uh, but yeah, it's like I just wonder what kind of state was that game in for them to be like, yeah, yeah, Black Panther, this Marvel video game, we're just gonna cancel it. We're just we're just done with it. Because when was this announced? Like in 2022? I can't even remember when this was announced. Uh, but it was years ago. Cliffhanger Games was formed in 2021. Uh, so probably yeah, 2022 I think is when that game was announced. So 3 years of development, roughly 3 years of development, and you're just like, no, we're cutting our ties with this one. And is it like a thing where Marvel gets in contact with you and says, "Hey, how's the game going?" And then Marvel sees it and they're like, "No, you're not doing that." So I wonder how that works. Ty also says some of the reasons why they got games canceled. The license fee is too much. We saw that with Sony and Spider-Man 2. The game was greenlit when the industry was expanding. Industry is now uh, closing. Yeah, okay. Three, better to invest in your own IP. For EA, it would be Dragon Age, Mass Effect. Well, yeah, you know that kind of bummed me out reading that. And then and then he says there's already a game that features Black Panther. You are right,
He said it kind of bummed you out reading that. Reading the real
because
bummed you out.
he said they want to invest in their own IP. Dragon Age. We'll never see a Dragon Age game again, ever, unless they sell it to somebody else and they decide to make a game. But like we're not gonna see another EA Dragon Age game. Like it doesn't matter how much I love Veilguard. Apparently, not many other people did. So that's cooked. And then you said Mass Effect, and it's like, bro, I'm hyped. I'm super excited to see what the next Mass Effect is. But bro, like I have so little hope. Just so like my it's just a husk of hope is what I have for Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect, and
He sounds like he's about
that's
to call it a murdering murder. You murdered murder.
that's what EA is. They're murdering murderers. You lying. Jesus. Stanley Francois, what's going on? Mike, appreciate you for stopping by. Mike says it's because you're woke, Matt. I am very woke, Mike. You got me on that one. Uh Rachie says Mass Effect by Dice. I still here's the thing. I'm gonna say something very controversial. Incredibly controversial in the year 2025. I still love BioWare. I think well here's the thing. We don't know what's gonna happen with BioWare after they just gutted like of huge portion of their team. So maybe the Bioware that they have left is dog shit. We don't know yet. But like I thought they did a great job with Dragon Age Railguard. But I don't know. Yeah, reading that, like I said, reading that just made me because like we gotta invest in our own IP and they're not
You
doing that.
sound like you're in so much of a better spot than where we started.
I talked myself out of it and then talked myself right back into it. So
Oh man.
so that so shout out to
You
Ty
sound like
for
you're
that.
limping now.
Ty
This sucker's
Ty
hurt.
Ty says there's already a game that features Black Panther 1942. Two Black Panthers out there sounds silly. It's like, well, I'd rather have a
It is.
game.
It kind of is.
The thing
Because they
is,
have
though,
the Black Panther and Captain America game coming too.
yeah, I just think if I wanted to play as Black Panther, sure, it's cool that I can do it in this game. but it'd be a lot cooler if I could do it in the Black Panther game. Be a lot cooler if I could do it in that one. But, is what it is. Uh Mike says too many of them Panthers, if you know what I mean. Jesus, Mike. Need to put you in prison, bud. Um, but yeah, so this whole just fiasco. I mean, like I asked you if you were surprised by this. Like I'm not super super shocked by that. Like it sucks. I'm kind of like most people, like a lot of people within the community who talk about this stuff and follow it closely. I'm kind of numb to it at this point. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I was super hyped for the Black Panther game because it really wasn't on my radar that much. But like, it was cool that it was being made, and maybe I would have checked it out. Like if they showed us a trailer and it looked great, then yeah, it'd be on my radar. But like, I'm not losing sleep that this game is not being made anymore. Put it that way. Um, Richie says Battlefront, but it's Mass Effect. Mass Effect. Here's what we do. Here's what we do. We we take Battlefield. Just don't call Battlefield anymore, and just make a massive Mass Effect multiplayer. And then when everybody says what happened to Battlefield, just say don't worry about that, and just keep giving a Mass Effect multiplayer. That's what you do. Um, my opinion on that. But yeah, anything else to say about EA, the beloved EA, before we move on to the next topic here, Ham?
Yeah, I think they should get both Mass Effect, Dragon Age,
Yep.
and Black Panther skins and throw them in Apex Legends, bud. There you go. You got them.
There you go. Now you can play. Now you can play
Hang
Black
out with
Panther.
Titanfall.
Just get the EA CEO up there and say, "Now you guys can shut up. Now you
Yep.
guys can shut up and leave us alone. You got what you wanted. Was it worth it?
They're
You
gonna change the name of Apex Legends to Vincent Bella's Angels.
just just like call it Mass Effect for a day. They changed the name for a day. Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Black Panther, and there you
Skin.
go. There you go. Now you got your Black Panther game. Be happy. Ty says, man, that's actually a good idea. Get DICE to make a Mass Effect multiplayer game. Make sure Battlefront 2 and Battlefield 1, that would be dope. Ah, man. Here's Mass Effect multiplayer. Like, I didn't play a ton of it, but it looks cool for what it was. What if they bring it back? It would have to be something just like anything nowadays. It would have to be a lot bigger to stand out. And I don't know. I don't know. Like that could either go really well or it could go very poorly. And just given EA's track record at the moment, I'd have to I'd have to go I'd have to go for the latter on that one probably. Um Mike says I
A
think
lot of
Matt.
these games are having a lot of these games are having trouble innovating multiplayer.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's a bummer too because it's like dude, I was just watching a video about like this guy was like going into like Xbox 360 game lobbies and just like why are you like a lot of Call of Duty lobbies, um, like Minecraft and shit, and he's like, why are you still playing on an Xbox 360? And like some people, like a lot of people, most people that he talked to were just like, I honestly just prefer like this era of. A lot of them specifically said this era of multiplayer versus today's. And I can totally understand what somebody means when they say stuff like that.
Well, today
Cause
it's a lot more sweaty compared to back in the day. It felt like more of a personal accomplishment. Didn't really feel like you were competing with everybody else. It just felt like you were
yeah,
doing to you. You were tailoring the game to be best for you, not not going into the game and doing a bunch of things that they want you to do.
Yes. I remember I have thought about it. Man, I haven't played Infinite's multiplayer in a bit, to be real. But like, just I'll use COD as an example. Playing Call of Duty, Black Ops 6. Love Black Ops 6. The multiplayer is super fun, as you come to expect in Call of Duty. They typically always nail the multiplayer down pretty well. Guns feel great. It's Call of Duty. It is what it is. So when that came out, I was playing a lot of it. And eventually, same thing that happens every year with Call of Duty. I kind of hit a wall where I don't know if it's skill based matchmaking because I can't imagine it takes skill based matchmaking that long to set in, but I'm sure that doesn't help. But it's just like I hit a wall with it where I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm done. Like I'll play this if my friends want to play this, but I'm done booting this up and playing it solo like a maniac. I'm done doing that. Versus like back in the day with Halo, there was no skill based matchmaking. You got in a game and you could be playing with five athletes or just a bunch of scrubs. It was completely random. And like when you knew you were playing, like when you had a game where you're like, okay, this guy on the other team is legit. This guy is fucking legit. This guy is rocking my shit. But then when you do something, dude, I remember playing Halo MCC. And I know it's MCC, it's not the original, the OG thing. I get it. But I was playing MCC, and I got match made in a game with Mint Blitz. I think I have a clip of it on my Twitter somewhere. I posted it like years ago, like before Infinite came out. I was like, holy shit! I got in a game with Mint Blitz, and there was a specific point in the game, and I got the clip of it on Twitter where I killed Mint Blitz in a one-on-one. And I was like, holy fucking shit, that's incredible. Obviously, I'm sure it's because he just got out of a fight and he was probably getting his shields back and whatnot. I'm sure he was at a disadvantage. But it was like just a cool moment of like, holy shit, I killed this guy who's really fucking good. Versus like Call of Duty, it's like it feels like every game you're playing somebody that's really fucking good. It doesn't feel as special or as impactful as like old Halo or Call of Duty to me. And I feel like that's a problem with a lot of multiplayer. I know Call of Duty and Halo are easy ones because those are the ones I play, but like even when I was playing Apex, like the matches just even like when you won a battle royale, which is like the whole point of playing the fucking game, it never really felt that fucking impactful to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Stanley Francois says, I feel the same way, Matt. Ty says, I remember after Call of Duty 4, everyone asked for more streaks as opposed to three. Then they gave us more, and the game became too chaotic. Still fun. Sometimes more isn't always better. Dude, Call of Duty 4 was perfect. Like, that all they needed to do was iterate on that. They didn't need to like make what they had in Call of Duty 4 better. They didn't have to add more. They just had to make it better. And they had the perfect fucking formula. Like Call of Duty 4 to me is not just the best Call of Duty ever. That is one of the best games ever made. That is one of the best campaign and multiplayer.
I wish they
Um
went back. I wish they went all the way back to Modern Warfare 3 and then just continued from there and just added stuff and just added stuff and just kept the base of what that was, because that game was essentially Modern Warfare 2 plus, right? It was almost like,
mhm.
when you got it was almost like when you got Halo 3 and then later on ODST came out and it was like, oh, it's kind
Yeah.
of just one big game. Even though
Yeah.
they counted it two standalones, it's kind of just one big game. Um,
Absolutely.
that's kind of what I wish they would have did with that. Is just like I mean, like they're kind of trying to do it, but in the most like half-ass kind of way, where they have like the Call of Duty HQ and they have everything kind of there, but but it's like it's there but separated, and it like makes it kind of more of a hassle to have it there and more of an irritation for us as customers to have to go through that check-in part just to get to the game, especially when only a part of the game, like a fucking only a percentage or a fraction of the game is there that's the whole landing page. So
Hmm.
I wish they kind of went back and kind of did that and just like had it more a la carte of like the maps that you chose. And I wish it was like mixed between Black Ops and and um
Modern Warfare.
yeah, and in Modern Warfare and stuff like that. I really don't like how it's separated. And it's just like I really like even the guns and stuff like that. And I understand there's a kind of a time setting, but like in my opinion, what Call of Duty needs right now is a Master Chief collection.
Yeah.
Call of Duty needs a Master Chief collection, and then they just need to build on the Master Chief collection and just stop making new Call of Duty. Just keep building and just add like, $30, $40 updates of like, we got 6 new maps, or like we got 3 new maps. Here's like, $20 or something like that for the 3 new maps to be able to play in rotation. Because you remember back in the day, that's how we used to do it, right? You get the,
Hmm.
Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 map pack. You
Yep.
just download it and then you can play with other people. But if you didn't get it, you just played with the people that you've been playing with, because there's a lot of people that aren't going to buy it.
Yeah. I like. I feel like for Call of Duty,
I miss the Striker and Barrett with the ACOG scope. I used to have the 50 cal Barrett with the ACOG scope. That thing was
the
lights out
50
in one
cal,
shot.
50 cal was nuts in Modern Warfare 2. That shit was
It
ridiculous.
was the exact same one in Modern Warfare 3. And when me
Yeah.
and my buddy played doubles and triples on that, it was fantastic just having like an ACOG, heavy, either as a sniper or like a heavy AR, or and then running around with the overpowered striker or AA-12. Nasty, nasty work.
Hmm. A12 was nice. I
Yeah.
like the
Like a striker guy.
UMP. Um, I'm sure. I love a P. I love the P90s in Call of
Oh,
Duty.
the P90 that was probably the best SMG in the game, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
For
Was the
like all the Call of
PP90. That
Duties.
thing was disgusting. I had it all gold and everything. It was great.
Yeah, that was like my. I was like probably my number one weapon was the P90 and M4. I like the M4 P90 and then A12 was like my shit in Call of Duty. Fuzzy
They had
Tomato
the
said Halo.
akimbo guns too, with
Mm-hmm.
the pistol, the akimbo pistols. Those things were dope.
Yep, I got killed by those a whole lot back in the day. Those in the model 1887s, right? I think they're called.
Dude, I
Motherfucker,
hated the
motherfuckers would
model.
go around
Dude,
the
I
map with
hated
those.
that gun. I never got that good with it, but people used to light me up with that thing.
Yeah, we used to rock my shit with that weapon. Fuzzy
Oh
Tomato said
man.
Halo had a ranking system to match people up. That was basically the origin of skill based matchmaking. But the thing, it just I don't know. Maybe yeah, I think you're right though. It just didn't feel that way. Maybe it's because I was just younger, and maybe I just didn't notice it. It's just now, like when I play multiplayer, it seems so obvious now, and that's kind of the thing I
I think when you were younger, you
don't
had an
love.
excuse of people were older and better, but now you're older and you're like, there's no excuse. Fuck this.
Yeah, there's I'm older, and a lot of these people are still better.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
that's because the age doesn't change in the game really that much. People get replaced every day.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. I think a lot of companies have a lot to figure out when it comes to multiplayer. And I think it's going to be tough to do it because, like, the way we grew up with it, where it was like you got a game and then it had a multiplayer beside it. Whereas
Yep,
now
I
it's
think
like,
that's the missing facet, man. Is a lot of these games, and not, I feel like I'm interrupting you. I feel bad,
you're
but a
fine.
lot of these games, they feel like half a product because they either come out all campaign, and then it's like, okay, I'm cool, I'm done with this because I just finished the campaign. And then there's those games that have just all multiplayer. Some of them are kind of sticky, but most of them it's just kind of like, man, it'd be nice if I had like some kind of story or thought behind why I like this game, then get to play the multiplayer with a bunch of friends and have multiple ways of doing it. Like, I mean, we've said this so many times. Like, Gears is just a great example of you have your multiplayer PvP, you have your multiplayer playing with people, and then you have your single player, which is the same thing, as well as the multiplayer is very similar to Space Marine. Space Marine hasn't had that locked down pretty well, and I feel like that's one of the reasons successful is because they didn't say, hey, you can get this Space Marines copy over here and it just has the campaign, and then you know what, a year to a month, or 6 months to 3 years later, then you'll get this online game to play versus each other and whatnot. It's just really hard. I feel like even Destiny did that, and I feel like they did a pretty good job of it. But I feel like it's really hard to balance the character you make versus the character that you play as in multiplayer contests. I mean, we've seen Halo struggle with wanting to do that. Space Marine currently struggles. Gears doesn't even try to do it because I mean, I don't know, man. It's just kind of tough. And then everybody's at different levels and stuff like that. I feel like Destiny flat out just gave up. They're just like, we're not balancing this anymore. There's just too much
Dude,
stuff.
Destiny is such a great example because at one point, like Destiny 1, when it launched, the PvP was pretty, at least to me, it was pretty shit. But like Taken King, Destiny 1, like around that time when that expansion came out, I feel like they had the multiplayer down. Like I didn't play a ton of it, but I feel like when I played it, I had fun and they had it down really good. And they started off, I thought, pretty good with Destiny 2. And then at some point, I don't know when it was, but whenever I came back to playing Destiny 2 and I was trying to play the multiplayer, that shit was so bad. It was so busted. It was so not balanced. I was just like, people were just popping their supers every like 2 fucking seconds. I didn't know what was going on. It felt like I was playing, it felt like I went from playing like what I remember Destiny being to playing Overwatch. And I didn't get it. And I gotta be honest, I kind of didn't even want to get it. I was like, it's okay. I had my time. This isn't my time anymore. And I just stopped. But yeah, Gears is another one too. Cause like they really got to figure something out with Gears because, and I'm hoping that the remaster will help with this. But like the people who play Gears multiplayer right now are all fucking athletes. They're all athletes. They're all professional players. Cause like the casual player isn't playing Gears multiplayer anymore because they're getting pushed out of it by fucking athletes. So it's like a small group of like the best players ever still playing Gears multiplayer. So I'm hoping that that's something that kind of gets corrected with with the remaster, where it's like it's a little bit more inviting to just a casual player. Like I just want to chill and play some Gears multiplayer. I can turn that on without running into a fucking meat grinder and just like rage uninstalling the game. Like I don't know. We have to see how that goes though. But there's so many examples of games that just like I feel like they had it nailed down so well, and then everything kind of changed in gaming, and now all the companies are just trying to fucking scramble to to do whatever they feel like you have to do now, which I just don't think is necessary.
Yeah.
Um, Raichi says Halo 5 is full of monsters. Yeah, Halo 5. I don't know. I don't know who here played Warzone on Halo 5, but that was my shit when Halo 5 came out. I loved Warzone, and I stopped playing. I played it for like 6 months, stopped playing for a couple months, and came back, and it was all sweats. Halo 5 was all sweats, like in Warzone, where it was PvPvE, like not arena where it was straight up PvP, not ranked, but just Warzone. It was just fucking athletes, dude. And I was like, okay, yeah, this isn't fun anymore. And that's usually the problem I run into nowadays with multiplayer. But let's see what we got here.
Hey, give me a second.
Well, I mean, we could talk about Elden Ring Night Rain. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know I was pretty excited for this. Not in the sense, I think I talked to you about it a couple weeks ago. I'm excited for this, not in the sense like I'm gonna buy this day one. I'm excited for it because like I'll probably get it at some point, and it looks pretty cool for what it is. But reviews are out. It's kind of a mixed bag at the moment. You see people say it's great. You also see people say it's not it's not good at all. So I'm gonna pass it to you, Ham. Are you kind of perplexed by the reviews it's getting? Are you surprised? Not surprised? How do you feel about the way it's being received right now?
Um, don't know what to think, to be honest. Like, I find it a little interesting that something that was coveted to be so great, and one of the pain in the butts to me were how frustrating it was getting into a multiplayer setting with somebody. But now that we have it, and with, like, an easier way to access and play with each other, it seems like it's not hitting as hard as maybe I thought it should. I mean, I'm kind of excited to play it. I'm not dying to play it.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say the same thing I said with Doom earlier. And I think it's just like a little bit of fatigue in the air with certain things, like it's not it's it's not to me, I don't know, maybe it's not as surprising or insane as some people were looking for. Maybe it just feels like more of the same except better access to play multiplayer,
could be.
like, but to me I just don't understand why the score is like I seen one score and I'm not sure how valid any of these things are. In fact, let me look it up real quick.
I'm on Metacritic right now. Uh,
Okay, what is it?
so it's all over the place. I'm trying to
The
find
78 right now on
78.
PlayStation, I see.
It's an 87 on
It's an
Xbox.
87 on Xbox and a 79 on PC. So
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on Xbox that has it so favorable,
I
but
think it's
I'm
just
sure
eight
there's a lot less
reviews.
reviews.
Yeah, it's 8 reviews versus 71 on PS5.
That's
So
interesting. What is the worst what does the worst review say for PlayStation? And I'll read you the lowest review I see for Xbox.
that's a good question. Here we go. Let me go all the way down here. I'm at 75, 70, 60. This guy gives it a 40. Oh, okay. He says the very core idea behind the concept of Elden Ring Night Rain is flawed. Loop-based games like roguelikes, that's something I learned in the past like 2 month or two, is that it's like a roguelite. Um, so he says loop-based games like roguelites completely break the magic of FromSoft's formula. It feels like a bundle of mods that quickly loses its charm due to repetitiveness. And that's if you're playing with someone who knows what they're doing. If not, the experience gets much worse. And that was he gave it a 40 out of 100. This guy, critical hits.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna read a good one. There's one on brief. The one that I was gonna read just says Elden Ring Night Rain is yet another playful slice of experimentation with breezy movement and rich player mechanics. That's not enough for me, but um,
Hmm.
this person gave an 80. It's tied for lowest score for Xbox right now. It says, even though we find the same graphic style and some familiar areas, we feel a slight lack of artistic risk taking, a somewhat recycled beastery, and menus that haven't changed one iota. Um, on the gameplay side, class balancing still needs adjustment, and world events like raids, rare terrain, or cataclysms remain too rare to permanently break the routine. The communication system boils down to a ping that isn't always precise, and attempting the adventure solo borders on a feat given the high difficulty and the need for a cohesive team. So he's saying it's kind of silly trying to play a single player. However, the game manages to create a strong addiction even when a run turns into a disaster. We want to try our luck again to take advantage of our character's progression curve and the pride of defeating a boss. Night Rain won't appeal to all players. It's its severity and small flaws may frustrate more than a few, but it brings a breath of fresh air to the studio. It's a good start, we'll say.
Okay. I mean, that seems level-headed. Uh,
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't think the one that you read that gave. I thought the score was not level headed, but I felt
yeah,
like what he said was level headed.
that's the thing that kind of surprised me, is the fact that he gave it a 40, but like what he said wasn't like that didn't line up with giving it a 40 out of 100. Like what he said lined up with giving it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 6.5 out of 10, maybe. But he gave it a 4 out of 10. That's
Let's see, was that for PS5?
yeah, that was the worst finished review on PS5. There's a bunch of TBD reviews that aren't like fully posted yet, but that was the worst finished review on
All right, let me
PS5.
give you the worst finished review from Gaming Age on PC.
Sure.
Because this would be kind of interesting, seeing that there is more technical issues that could possibly happen on PC for for many reasons.
Yeah.
But it says Elden Ring Night Rain does offer a new and anyways they gave it this one a 55. And
Sure.
it's from Gaming Age. It says that Elden Ring Night Rain does offer a new and interesting step in a different direction for from Soft and Bandai Namco. But I'm not exactly confident that this is the best choice. I think it'll be enjoyable title to mess about in with your friends, lending itself more to games like Risk of Rain, with the roguelite aspect, but as a FromSoft game boasting the Elden Ring title, I think it's missing the mark from what we expect from the studio. It's a hard recommendation unless you can get two of your friends to jump abroad with you. So I'm stuck in a middle ground. It has merits to it, but the flaws really do put a damper on overall enjoyment. If you really seek more Elden Ring, you'll find it with Night Rain, but it's different enough that I have to give a warning to those expecting more of the same with just multiplayer as the focus.
Hmm. Well, that's
They gave you
that.
that. That sounded legit, but 55 is tough, man. That is tough.
That's tough, but he also said he's in the middle of the road with it. 5 out of 10 is the middle of the road.
That is
So,
fair. He's actually a little
so,
above the middle of the road. He gave it a 55.
so that's I'm not mad at him for that. That seems
That's
like
not
a
good though. Just to
no.
give you
It's
guys,
not good.
just to let y'all know, that's not good.
Yeah,
it's still,
that's not
it's
great.
still horrible, but it's not below
Yes.
50.
Rachie says the worst review from PlayStation Reforge. Apparently, Reforge said they didn't make the game 8K, 120 FPS on PS5 Pro. I'm hoping that
Oh
that was
my god. Okay.
sarcasm. I'm hoping that that
That's
was
crazy.
sarcasm on
I'm not buying
Reforge's
that. That's
part.
crazy.
Cozy says it's not the game I want. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of people nowadays. Uh, Richie also says, anyone remembers when Refantasia released, the reviewers were all, it's not Persona 5. Dude, this is, okay. And Cozy, let me get these things from Cozy. She says, they literally told people what to expect. Are people really that stupid? So, okay. To Rachie's comment, dude, I was watching the little bit I did get to watch your guys' show today. Um, you guys were talking about Doom, and I was like, I like the whole thing with Doom. I just want to say this real quick. I know it's kind of off topic, but kind of not because we're talking about reviews and everything. But like the way people talk about Doom, of like,
You're about to
I
take
think you
this
guys,
personal.
I think you guys were, yeah, a little bit. I think you guys were talking about the reception to it and how like a lot of people, or Loke was saying that like there was a fair amount of people that he's seen online who were not upset with it, but like not, it wasn't to the level of hype
It wasn't
of
the
like,
most enthusiasm
yeah,
showing for a Doom game
yeah,
since he can remember.
yes. So I feel like the reason for that is people like, it gave people 2016 and Eternal, and 2016 and Eternal are two vastly different games. People played Eternal. I feel like you ask a lot of people, like I prefer 2016, but if you ask a lot of people, they prefer Eternal. That seems to be the consensus online, at least. Um, so when Dark Ages comes out, it's like the antithesis of Eternal, where it's like Eternal's like run, jump, and jump again. That's what you do in Eternal. And if you don't do that, you're gonna fucking die. So you gotta play you pretty much gotta play the game this way. Versus Doom the Dark Age is like, we're gonna switch that whole thing up. There's not much jumping now. You can jump if you want to, but it kind of just slows you down, honestly. So I feel like a lot of people came into Dark Ages being like, I want I want Doom Eternal 2.0, and they didn't get Doom Eternal 2.0, and this game fucking stinks. Which is fair. Like if you don't like the game, then you don't like the game. It's whatever. But I feel like that was kind of, for at least a good portion of the stuff I see online, that seems to be the sentiment of like, I wish they would have stuck more with what they did with Doom Eternal. And I'm on my side, like, yo, I enjoyed Doom Eternal, but if you're asking me what I want between Dark Ages and Eternal, it's Dark Ages. It's Dark Ages, dude. But that's just what I want to say about that. Blind, What's going on? Appreciate you for stopping by. Uh, but yeah, this whole night rain thing, like I will probably get the game at some point. And
I
here's what I'm
tell you
probably
what,
gonna
I'm
do.
not excited. I tell you what, I'm not excited for roguelike. I hear
Yeah,
roguelike in
yes,
games and
yeah.
I hear roguelike in games and it turns me off. I hear roguelike in a Souls game and I'm like, what are you even doing here, you demon?
Send it back to hell.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
need.
just like somebody throw this thing in the face of Doom guy and just let him murder it. Like just get this
put
out of my face.
put it in the
This looks
fire
like a
pit.
like I want to play it, but then just I'm just thinking about it and like I hate unless the game is super fire or it's kind of inviting and just kind of chill. I don't like starting over. I
That's
don't
fair.
like starting over all over again, especially if I'm kicking ass and like I get it, right? It's kind of like the old Sega games and Nintendo, right? Like I get that, but like there was a good amount of games where I didn't really get to experience them until I felt like it. And that seems like what this game kind of is to me is like a game that I'll play when I feel like it, but I
Yes,
don't really feel like I need to play this game. And that's just I don't know, man.
that's fair. I'm with you on the roguelite thing. That's why, like I said, in the last like 2 months, I found out that it was like legit a roguelike. And that's what took my excitement for like I was generally excited for the game. I was like, this is definitely on my radar. I may or may not get it when it launches. And then I learned that it was a roguelite. I'm like, okay, well then I'll probably wait for a sale. Probably wait for a sale on that. And here's my plan. I'll honestly probably wait until they do the update because I think they said the game is balanced for either 1 or 3 players. I don't even think you can play 2 players on that.
That sounds stupid.
Exactly. So I
Like this
said,
already sounds like a mess to me. This
exactly.
just like I remember just playing Elden Ring with you. It'd just be like just me and you, or it'd be me, you, and Mike, or it'd be me, you, and Vinny, or me, you, and Blind, or me, you, and Sensei, or just
Yeah.
something like that. And and like there's some weird balancing going on with that game where sometimes it felt like you yourself was overpowered too much. Sometimes it felt like the enemy, like the like you almost couldn't even figure out the cadence before you're dead. You know what I mean? And when that happens, sometimes it was a pain in the butt to get there, to get back. So just thinking about that with a roguelite, like you're telling me to step up to something that I'm not gonna very much of what could possibly happen. And then, like, I just need to sit down. Maybe after this show, Matt, we watch some footage to see what Night Rain is. Maybe we could see some like gameplay of like multiplayer with it. And I want to see what happens when somebody gets downed or both of them get downed. And I want to see, can you pick that person up? Can you not? If you win, do you both continue? Or, does just the one continue? If you lose, do you guys have to start all the way over again? Or do you go back just to the latest checkpoint? Like, I want to know, like, what is kind of going on, because if if it's go back to the latest checkpoint, I can I can get down with that, right? But if it's like, you know, insert coin, it's like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't know, like because then because then it seems like, all right, then I'll figure out the first boss and I'll, be all hyped and happy and whatnot. And let's say we get to the second boss and beat it and then get straight to the third one and start to have some trouble and you die and I can't pick you up anymore and whatnot. And I'm running in fucking circles because I know that would happen. I'm running in
Hmm.
circles trying to figure out what to do. Ain't got no more health and it's just like, dang man, if I get hit one more time, I gotta go 2 levels back and we gotta start all over. And like I don't know, that can be kind of defeating day after day. Um,
That's incredibly defeating.
it and like depending on how it's made, it could be kind of fun, right? Like if it's made to go around like what we were planning on doing with Elden Ring with the mod online, right? We're kind of just around, fuck shit up,
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
I would hope that's what it is. I would hope it's like the seamless co-op mod and not like you gotta go to this you gotta summon, you gotta
It
get the
just
finger
smells like
save.
it's
It's
not. It's
dude, if if it's not that, then I
something
don't know.
about this rogue like talk. It reminds me of when they said God of War and they put that rogue like on it. I was like, well, sounds like I'm out. As soon
Because
as they, as soon as they said the update to God of War is God of War, more stuff to do, rogue like, and I was like, deleted. Not interested. Not
I th-
interested because I know what that means. That means I have like a chance and then maybe a one up to use or something like that. And if I don't get it on that one up, then I'm assed out and I have to start differently. And then more than likely the levels are going to change or something's going to be a little bit different than the last time. And they're going to call it keeping it fresh when in my opinion it's just called keeping it at stage 1. Like, it's just like it just to me it just doesn't like if I'm going to spend good money on a game, I want to feel like I'm making some moves, and to me, there's just too much competition to try to get me to stick around for a game that I don't know. I think it could be fun, but I've just never been into roguelikes. I've never
yeah.
really been into roguelikes unless it's like on an old classic console to me where it makes sense. Like back in those days, a lot of those games were roguelike half the time. It's because there was no way to save.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to
Well,
save, or there would be a way to save, and it'd be a complicated ass password or something like that. So I mean, they weren't technically roguelike games, but like not every game was like Shinobi, and I don't know how much I'm trying to play a Shinobi on right now.
yeah. Well, I think this is going to be like a seamless thing. And I only think that because I saw something, it was either yesterday or it was earlier in the week, where they were talking about like it has matchmaking. So I would assume based on that, it's like I boot up the game, I look for a match, and I get paired, and then we go into the match. If we die, we die. I just look for another match. That's what I'm assuming it's going to be. But if it turns out to be the whole Elden Ring thing of like you gotta get the finger, you gotta summon, dude, get fuck out of here with that. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the time, and I quite frankly don't want to do that because I already did that with Elden Ring.
Bro, I
Uh,
really think we should just watch the trailer either now or after the show and then just like reconvene this conversation because
yeah,
I
we will.
just feel so I just feel so just silly not knowing what to expect because it could be exactly what I'm talking about, not wanting, but the way that they made it work might be forgiving enough for me to wanna play it. I just don't wanna feel like I'm playing a Nintendo game in 2025, like or not a Nintendo game, but like, an old ass.
SNES game, yeah.
Yeah, like, I just don't wanna feel like I'm doing that and just getting wrecked and just not really
Yeah.
having fun, more or less just fighting the game.
Yeah. Blind says,
I don't mind
or
having some games like that, just ugh.
I,
I
I,
guess
I,
I guess I'm looking for something a little bit. I don't know. I'm just not a Souls player. I guess. I think that's just the
oh,
best
I'm
way I can put
definitely
it. I'm
not.
just not a Souls guy.
I'm definitely not. And see, that's the thing. That's my whole perspective on this is like, this could have came out and got like a 97 or something. This could have scored like Elden Ring. But if I watched, because like what I watched of Elden Ring, I was like, okay, I know what this is. It's a single player game that's going to beat the fuck out of me. I already know that. But it's getting these great reviews. I've never really given the genre a shot before. Everyone says this is the easiest one to get into. If you're going to get into it, this is the one. I tried it, loved it. But if this came out and scored the exact same score, but they had a mechanic in there that just made me not want, like, because it is a multiplayer. If the multiplayer mechanic doesn't seem fun or convenient, I don't care if it scores 100 out of 100. I'm probably not going to play it. I just I have less tolerance when it comes to that. Honestly, Blind says, or you were leaving the console on so you don't lose progress. I remember that. I remember doing that with the 360 because my dad, like when I got my 360, paper route money, by the way, making big bucks back then. It's like 100 and God, what was it? Like $140 a week, which was for a kid, that was fucking, I was like a millionaire. But I got the 360 without the hard drive. And I got 2K. Oh, shit, I forgot what other game I got with that thing. I can't remember, man. I played, but it was 2K, and I didn't turn that 360 off until I got a hard drive. That 360 ran nonstop for probably 3 months, if I had to guess, until I got a hard drive. Because I didn't want to turn it off and lose progress. And my what was I playing? Like whatever the equivalent of my GM was, like NBA franchise or whatever back then. But yeah, remember that. Rachie says, anyone saw the rumor for a sequel for the Order 1886? I did see something about that. And in fact, let me look that up real quick. Um, Order 1886.
Yeah, I've seen an article about it, but I didn't read it. I just kind of scrolled by it.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Gamer Ranks says the Order 1886 creative director shares details planned for its canceled sequel. So yeah, this is what I thought I read earlier. It was a planned sequel
Damn,
that
that
was
sounds depressing.
yeah, it was a planned sequel that was eventually canceled. But what I saw earlier, I wonder if it's in this article. I'm kind of skimming over it real quick to see if I see any keywords. Whatever. What I saw earlier was like they wanted to add multiplayer to it. I've never even played the Order 1886. I don't know if you have.
I
Um,
have.
okay, so what are your thoughts on Order 1886 and what do you think? Like, would you be excited if they brought it back and said, we're going to do what we did before? This time it's going to be bigger, obviously look better. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be 10 times better, but we're also going to have multiplayer. Are you excited? Are you hyped for that?
Kinda.
Okay. What's your thoughts on the Order 1886? Like, well, you played it. Did you beat it?
No,
Okay. Did you get even close to beating it?
I don't know. I heard it wasn't very long, so possibly.
Okay, so what when you played it
I
out of
played like
10?
3 hours of it, maybe 4.
Okay, so out of 10, what would you give that game?
Out of 10,
Yeah.
um, like a 7, maybe a
It's not bad.
6.75, but like, um, probably a 7, but like I didn't get to finish it, so it could have got bigger or it could have went down. But like, I where I left it, I was like, this is all right, but I
Mm,
wasn't like too super stoked, right? Like, to me, it was just kind of not that stylish, I guess. Like, I didn't really like the world I was in. I didn't
gotcha.
really like the world I was in, and I thought the innovation that they put towards the the way certain weapons get used, like there's this like rocket launching weird ass explosive napalm thing that was really cool in the game that I got to use for a little bit. And like I said, I think the game would have probably progressed and got a little bit better. It would have ended up being like a 7.75 or something like that, or something like that, possibly, right? Because it was on the come up a little bit for me, right? But I just didn't really enjoy the world. I didn't really feel much for the character that much. The weapons,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha.
The way that like the camera work in the game and the graphics were really nice. Some of the QTEs in the game were pretty cool and like pretty engaging. Like
It
that's some of
seems
the
very
stuff I really
cinematic.
liked about the game. Oh yeah, it's very cinematic, and that's what I
Yeah.
kind of liked about it. Is it had some of that cinematic, and it just at some point sometimes it's kind of like, which one do you want to be?
Hmm.
And I
Gotcha.
guess that kind of got me a little bit too, because sometimes it felt like I was playing a little bit of like a Last of Us kind of thing, and then other times it felt like I was playing like, I don't know, like a Detroit kind of Stay Human kind of thing.
Okay.
So like, and they did both of them decent, but neither one of them are great.
Yeah.
So it made
Yeah, that
for an
makes sense.
all right experience.
That makes sense. I still, yeah, I'll have to play it one day. Like that looks like a game that would be right up my alley. That looks like a game that I would
I
very,
think you'd like
very
it.
much enjoy. Yes,
I
I
think
probably
you'd
would.
I, I think you would appreciate that story more than I would. I just don't find that particular scenery enjoyable.
That's fair.
Like it's kind of like, man, I'm so tired of castles and stuff like that in games, man. Like I guess that's what I kind what kind of that's what slowed me down from playing like Oblivion. And like before Oblivion came out, I was played a little bit of Skyrim, and I was just like, like, and the games are great. There's nothing wrong with the games. I just, that kind of world and aesthetic, and now I'm looking at Elden Ring, and I'm just like, they're the same kind of, depressing castles burning aesthetic. And then you talk about Tainted Grail, just sounds like more castle burning aesthetics. Like I'm just looking for something a little bit different right now. Nothing's wrong with those. I'm just
Sure.
kind of just want something a little bit more sci-fi or something a little bit more realistic. I mean, obviously I was looking forward to Grand Theft Auto earlier, and now I'm looking forward to Mind's Eye. And and Dune Awakening kind of has that space sci-fi aesthetic. I mean, it is sci-fi.
Yeah.
So so I mean that's kind of what I'm going for, and there's nothing wrong with any of the other games. Um not there's nothing wrong. There's nothing good enough for me to hate about them other than just me not really being in that zone right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I played enough castle kind of games this generation and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind trying some Night Rain, but I'm a little worried about how that'll end up, and I'm also really a little worried about how well the multiplayer will feel, especially after playing the multiplayer in Elden Ring. Like that was so unbalanced. It was insane.
Well, yeah, we're gonna find after the show. We're gonna find out because we're gonna watch that. I
I'm
want to bring
watching
something
this
up.
18-minute IGN thing right now. It's 19 minutes actually, and like I can't hear nothing, so we got to watch it after the
Yeah.
show. But
All
like
right.
it looks cool in one, and it looks exactly like I thought it looked. Right, man, that looks cool. But man, what happens when you die? What happens?
What happens when
And
everything
if I
goes wrong?
think happens is what happens, then I might have to like catch it on a sale or something.
Oh yeah, that's a sale game for me for sure. Um, Blind Giant has been really enjoying Clair Obscur. Definitely game of the year contender. That is what a lot of people are saying, buddy. It'll
I
almost
tell you
certainly be
what,
there.
I said it on my show earlier,
Say it again.
and I said there's one game that I'd keep an eye out on. If you think Claire Obscure might be that rand out, pop out, and show, type of game, then you might want to keep your eyes peeled for Crimson Desert if it actually comes out this year. Because that game
Crimson Dazzle looks
look
sick.
that game. Have you seen the recent?
I have
Uh,
not. Wait, how recent? Like this week recent, or what are
like
we
a
talking
little
about?
over a week ago.
I don't think I have. I'm gonna have to watch that. But dude, Crimson Dazzle looks so sick.
Yeah, it's only a minute and 41 seconds. I tell you, that's all it needed. I mean, like we watched on the channel like some long gameplay, which we should watch some of that afterwards, like
Yeah.
performance
Yes.
review or something like that. Like we watched like 10. Like me and Loke sat and watched just a couple of fight scenes, and that's just like the way I put it, and like Loke was like a little excited about it, and then he watched that minute and a half preview,
Yep.
and that man was ready to get out
Melted.
of his seat. He about fucking melted. Yeah, he about melted. And I was telling him, I was like, the way I describe it is Dragon's Dogma featuring Jathan Statham from fucking Crank.
Oh, just turned out.
Just way too turned up, like dangerously turned up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
That
check
shit
this
looked
out.
nuts. Like
Isn't this?
when we get out of here, we're gonna have to check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Book. We're gonna have to check that out before we check out the other thing. I almost forgot the other thing. Oh yeah, yeah, the
yeah.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, Elden Ring. Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm more interested in that. That's supposed to come out at the end of the year though. So if it doesn't come out at the end of the year and it comes out next year, it might be good for I don't know, man. I think that game has a lot of promise, but that I don't know. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong.
I look at that game, and that game, I get the same. I'm glad you brought up Dragon's Dogma because I get the same vibe as I got from Dragon's Dogma 2, where like when I remember seeing Dragon's Dogma 2 stuff leading up to launch. I'll even throw Atomic Heart, even though Atomic Heart's an entirely different kind of game. But I remember seeing stuff for it. I'm like, there's no way they expect me to believe that that's actual gameplay. And then you play the game, and you're like, oh, no, that's it. That's the real thing. They did not lie. They didn't embellish anything. That's exactly what it looks like, and that's exactly how it plays. I look at this and I get the same feeling. There's no way they expect me to believe that that's actual gameplay, but I have a pretty good feeling that when I play it, I'm gonna say, "Oh no, they didn't lie. That's 100%." And
Yeah.
like that game, just like every time I see it, I constantly forget that that game exists, but every time I see it, I'm like, that looks so fucking awesome. Every time I see it. Blind Giant says Crimson Desert has been looking fire. He also says, I think streamers have been streaming it recently. I'm gonna have to check that out and see if that's a thing. Because if people are streaming that, I would absolutely like to see that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we've got for today. I mean, we've gone about an hour and a half at this point. Uh,
Yeah.
but before we get out of here, Ham, let them know what you're up to, where they can find you, all that fun stuff.
Still getting ready to move and doing stuff over here. So it's a long process because we're moving to a different state. So
Yeah,
what I want to say
yeah,
is like about 500-600 miles. So it's gonna be
that's
a little more than a jog.
it's a decent trip, bud. That's a
Yeah.
big
So
fucking
been
trip.
running around doing stuff, getting stuff ready for that. And finishing some health stuff and some attorney stuff. So just tighten up
Okay,
some loose ends before I get the hell out of here.
yeah, I feel that, bud. All right, well, check Ham out. Link in the description. TSWS Gaming. Friday. I mean, I'm assuming we'll have a show Friday, right?
Yeah, Loke's not going to be on though.
Okay, well, yeah, Friday show 4 p.m. Eastern. Bull sitting. Probably without Woke, probably be me, Ham, Cozy, maybe Mental, maybe a guest. Who knows? We never really know. But uh as for myself, you can find me here, obviously, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern for the Two Player Podcast with myself and Ham Solo. And then Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern for the L3R3 Podcast with myself, Hard Days Mike, and it's me, Twan. Videos every week here on the channel. You can find me on Blue Sky, Matt Likes Games. That's where you can find me. We're going to get out of here. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week.